So day 2 of the quadratic formula. The bell ringer, I told you to use the quadratic formula right away, but sometimes I won't tell you. So we have to know when to use it. So here, normally we would try and factor this, right? I would try and look for factors of 7, which what are they?
1 and 7.
1 and 7. Do 1 and 7 get us to add up to 9? No. Okay, so when that doesn't work, we have to use the quadratic formula instead. So on the board, I had this up there for you. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Okay. What is my a value?
X,
1.
which is 1.
A is 1, b is 9, c is 7. Okay, so we're just going to plug this in here. What do I plug in for negative b?
Negative 1. Wait,
Negative 9, yep. Plus or minus the square root. What do I plug in for b? 9, so this turns into 9 squared minus 4, what's a? 1, c is 7, all over 2 times a, which is 1. Okay, do you have to fill out the formula?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, you need to be filling out the formula. We're not skipping steps here. From here, we just want to simplify as far as we can. So can I do anything with that negative 9 in front?
No.
No, so this stays as negative 9. On the inside there, what's 9 squared? 81. What do I do with these 3 numbers? Multiply. What do we get when we multiply those? Negative 28 divided by 2 times 1?
2.
2. What can I still simplify?
81 and 20.
Yeah, so we get negative 9 plus or minus the square root of 53 divided by 2. Okay. The farthest you can go is based off of the square root. Okay, so right now, can I take the square root of 53 and get a whole number? No, I'd get a decimal, right? What did I tell you to do if that would happen? We're done. Yep, so this here are your 2 solutions. Why do I say there's 2 solutions there?
Positive and negative.
Because it has that positive and negative to take care of both of those. Okay. I'm going to show you an example where we can go a little farther. You do not have to write this down. You can just follow along. Okay, so if I gave you x equals 2 plus or minus the square root of 36 divided by 2. Can we keep going with that square root?
Yeah.
Yes. So if I continue to simplify, what is the square root of 36? 6. And I'd still have that divided by 2. Do I want to leave my answer like this?
No.
No. Okay, we can actually figure out what those 2 solutions are if we needed to. Okay, so what's one of my solutions?
2 plus minus 3 and 2 plus minus, no, wait.
You're really close.
Minus 6.
We get our 2 solutions there by just splitting this up. So one of them turns into 2 plus 6 divided by 2. The other one, I should put x equals in front of there. The other one turns into x equals 2 minus 6 divided by 2. So what I did is I just split up this plus or minus sign for our 2 different solutions. So if we solved, what is 2 plus 6? 8 divided by 2 is 4. So one of our solutions is 4. 2 minus 6? Negative 4. Divided by 2 would be negative 2. So this is our other solution there. Okay, if we were to continue on with the one that we got up here, we would get nasty decimals for our answer. Okay, we don't want to work with decimals. We're going to keep it as simple as possible. Okay, but if you can simplify that square root, you do want to keep going and get your numerical answers. Capiche? All right. Another thing, you do not have to write this down, but yesterday we had an example that looked like x equals 2 plus the square root of negative 5 divided by 2. Can I simplify that radical? Is there anything wrong with this?
The negative.
It's a negative. Can I take this? Can I take the square root of a negative? No. And you said that negative 1 turns to an I. So really, this would turn into, if I came off to the side, square root of 5i, right? Okay. If I were to graph this, would I be able to see these x-intercepts? No, why?
Because it's imaginary.
Because it's imaginary, okay? You should like ones where you end up with a negative square root because they do turn out to be no solution. Okay, so we're going to stick with no solution on those. So go ahead in your notes and flip to example 3, please. Example 3 in your notes. Off to the side of your example 3, we're going to take some notes here. If you need to find other space to do that, this is really the only side notes that we're taking, okay? So I want you to label this as number of solutions. Make a label off to the side of your notes that says number of solutions. Okay, when you're given a quadratic equation, how many answers are we normally going to have? We are normally going to have 2. However, with that square root, it can kind of mess up some things, okay? So to figure out how many solutions we're going to have to a quadratic equation, we can use what is called the discriminant value. So discriminant, and that part comes from the quadratic formula, okay? So the discriminant part is the part that's the square root inside. So the discriminant is that b squared minus 4ac. Okay, circle that, box it, star it, or something. Okay, that right there alone is going to tell us how many solutions we have for a quadratic equation. Okay, and it can be any of them. Even if the factoring works, we can still use this for any quadratic equation that we have. Okay, so there are 3 different numbers of solutions that we can have. The first one that can happen is we can have 2 solutions. Okay. And when we have 2 solutions, that discriminant inside, that's going to be all your positive numbers. Okay, so whenever you have a positive number inside that square root, you're going to have 2 solutions. Okay, the next possible number of solutions is 1 solution. Okay, what do you think has to be inside that square root to get 1 solution?
No, because negative is no solution.
Negative is no solution. So what number do you think needs to be in the square root to have 1 solution?
0.
Why do you say 0?
Because, I don't know, I guess.
Because it's a good guess. It's correct. Okay. What happens when I take the square root of 0?
You get 0.
I get 0, right? So do not write this down. But if I had plus or minus the square root of 0, do you agree this kind of goes away? Okay, so we're only going to have 1 solution with that because that plus or minus goes away. Okay, so if you have 0 inside the radical, that is your 1 solution. Okay, 0. And then what's the last number of solutions we can have? None. Yep, no solution. And when did we say that happens?
When there's a negative.
When there's a negative number inside the square root. Again, to figure all this out, you do not have to use the whole entire quadratic formula. Okay, what part do you have to use? What part of the quadratic formula tells you?
Squared minus 4ac.
Yeah, it's called the discriminant here. You're just going to use that part that is inside that square root. Because that square root, whatever's in there, tells you how many solutions you have. Okay, is that a lot easier than just doing the whole quadratic formula? Yes. Okay, however, in order to find your actual solutions, you will have to finish out the quadratic formula. Okay, so using this information, let's look at example 3, part A. You guys have 16x squared plus 8x plus 1 equals 0. Okay, directions say describe the nature of the solutions. It just wants you to tell you how many there are. So how do we figure out how many solutions there are? What do we use? What did you say?
The discriminant.
The discriminant, right? So the discriminant we know is b squared minus 4ac. It's the part inside the radical in the quadratic formula. Okay, so we just have to plug in values to this. So what is my b value? 8. So I'm going to have 8 squared minus 4. What's a? 16. And c is 1. Now we just have to evaluate. What is 8 squared? 64. What do I do with these three terms? Multiply. What is negative 4 times 16? Negative 64. Last thing I can do with those? 64 minus 64 is 0. Right, so, well, look at our table that we made. If we get 0, how many solutions do we have?
1.
We have one solution. Yep. When you get 0 for your discriminant value, we are going to have one solution. Remember, are we confused by the reasoning?
Oh, that's what I said. And you told
Oh,
me.
I'm so sorry. I heard no solution.
No.
Sorry. You're correct.
That's why I was confused. I was like, wait.
You're correct. Sorry, I heard no solution.
No.
You're correct. It is one solution. Okay? Sorry about that. What I want you to do is go try example 3B on your own. All right, so in order to know how many solutions we're going to have, what do we use? The discriminant, right? So let me rewrite this. You have 2x squared minus 5x plus 6 equals 0. So remember that discriminant, we use b squared minus 4ac. Where does this come from?
The radical.
It comes from that square root part in the quadratic formula. Yep. So what do we plug in for b?
Negative 5.
That negative's important. Yep. Negative 5 squared minus 4. What's a?
2.
2c is 6. Any questions about that part so far? Okay, so now we just evaluate here. What is negative 5 squared?
Negative 25.
Positive 25.
It is positive 25. What's the reasoning?
Because that's negative 5 and a negative times a negative is positive.
Bingo. Negative times a negative will give you that positive. Okay. So what do I do with these three here? What?
Multiply.
Multiply. What's 4 times 2? Sorry, negative 4 times 2?
Negative 8.
Negative 8 times 6?
Negative 40.
Negative 48. Subtract those. What do I get?
Negative 20.
Negative.
Negative 23.
No solution.
Why is this a no solution?
Because it's a negative.
Because there's a negative. Yep. So remember, if you're struggling to remember what the rules are, just think, what would happen if I took the square root of these? Okay, what would happen if I took the square root? Okay. Let's go ahead and look at these last couple examples here. In this one on your example 4, does it matter that those are now t's?
No.
No. Okay, do they mean the same thing as if we had x's there? Yes. Okay, so I told you to find the discriminant and tell me how many solutions there are. So what am I using?
This
Which is,
b squared.
yep, b squared minus 4ac. So what can I plug in for b?
5.
Yep, 5 is our b value. So we have 5 squared minus 4 times negative 5 times 2. Okay, what's 5 squared? 25. What do I do with these three? Multiply. What happens, or what do I get when I multiply those? What's negative 4 times negative 5? 20 times 2? 40. So we get plus 40. What's 25 plus 40? 65. So that's my discriminant value. How many solutions do I have? How many?
2.
I will have 2 solutions. Why? Because it's positive. If I take the square root of a positive number, how many answers am I going to have? 2. Yep. Good. Any questions on that one? All right, let's do this one. Again, we want to do the same thing. So what am I going to use to find the discriminant?
B squared minus 4 times AC.
B squared minus 4ac. What is my b value?
1.
Yep, I told you to use 1. So we have 1 squared minus 4 times
5.
5 times 5. What's 1 squared?
1.
1. What do I get when I multiply these?
Negative 100.
Negative 100. What's 1 minus 100?
Negative 99.
Negative 99. So that is my discriminant value. How many solutions do I have? No solution. Again, what is the reasoning for this no solution?
Because it's negative.
Because it's negative. What happens when we take the square root of a negative? What does it become? Becomes imaginary, right? That I shows up. Yep. Good.